Greeting to all and welcome back to the Unfiltered Hour by Kasoy. Today, joining us is Ankush Sharma, an engineer turned historian, lives in Katua District of Jammu Kashmir. He is an author of an historical fiction, October 1947, and currently pursuing PhD from Central University of Punjab. He is co-convener of the INTACH Jammu Chapter and completed a project sponsored by INTACH documenting the Shiv Shakti Temple of Katua District. Additionally, he dwells into diverse subjects including partition studies, cultural heritage, tourism, and social issues, notably drug abuse. The podcast was shot through the online platform. Hence, there are some digital problems or issues within it. But the podcast is very informative. I hope the students seeing this would enjoy it at highest. And I request you to please see it for the full length as it has very critical information within it regarding the Kashmir issue or the historical facts about Jammu and Kashmir. We tend to ignore certain things about it, and Sir has highlighted what we shall take care of. It is important for the youth to understand the importance of our own heritage, and this video is completely for it. So, without wasting time, let's begin.
Ankush, first of all, welcome to our podcast. And thanks for taking out some time for this specific event. It's a great honor to have you with us. So,
Thank you so much.
uh, first of all, beginning with our podcast, I would like to inform you that there are going to be three segments to it. First, we would be asking about your journey, how your life has been, and what achievements have you gained. Second part would be about your research or certainly any achievements you have done right now within uh, public interest or certainly there. And at last, we would be asking you some free questions which would be open ended. Okay.
All right, all right.
Okay. So, beginning with your personal journey, sir, what inspired your transition from engineering to history? And how has this shaped your perspective? See, because being a humanities student, this is very unlikely to see that a person who has pursued engineering has turned out to be an historian and has succeeded quite a bit in it. So can you share your journey in it specifically?
Yeah, actually, when I was in engineering, it was not like that. I didn't have interest in engineering. I was
Mhm.
like so focused in my engineering. I'm electrical engineer graduate.
Okay.
So, but while pursuing engineering, I used to read these geography books, history books, general GK books. During those reading those books, I
Mhm.
got some interest towards these the general knowledge thing,
Okay.
and then I got to know about the IAS, UPSC, and there you cannot have engineering subject. People use, though people have they have cracked UPSC also with electrical engineering, but
Mm.
it is considered a little difficult.
Yes, sir.
So when I talked to people, they told me that geography is a very good subject. So I had geography as my optional during
Okay.
UPSC preparation. So when I went to Delhi. I took coaching also for 1 year, and after that, when I came back here so there is a exam, state exam as well, JKPSC, and they had two optionals.
Mhm.
So there I had to choose another optional. I had geography for IAS. There in UPSC there is only one option, but in
Okay.
JKPSC there used to be two options. Though now the pattern has changed. So then I chose geography as the second option. Sorry, history as second option.
Okay, sir.
So I had geography and history as optional. So I wanted to have a backup plan as well because UPSC is
Mm.
very tricky.
Yes, sir.
So for that, I was thinking to pursue masters. So first of all, because I was more into geography, so
Mhm.
I was planning to do masters in geography.
Mhm.
Though because I couldn't do like regular masters. So I searched for distance masters program.
Okay,
So
sir.
in geography at that time there was no such programs.
Mm-hmm.
Then I shifted to history. So from history, and then from distance education in through IGNU, I whatever books I got, I started reading them, and also in I wrote mains also. So in mains also I had history optional. So from there I started reading history, and I got my interest into it, and then I cleared JRF during my masters only.
Okay.
So then things just flow. Sometimes you do not plan things; it just happens.
It happens, exactly.
Yeah.
Sir, speaking about your UPSC journey, majority of the student out there are preparing for UPSC mindlessly, certainly, and are confused that what they are going to do if they are not able to crack it. What would your suggestion be for them? Like, I heard that you were preparing for UPSC, and
Yeah.
certainly you deviated from it and came to something else. So, we would like to know what was your insight to it.
See, I think UPSC is a very challenging path, especially for middle class people. So
Yes, sir.
there, I had some friends who had businesses back there at home. So their parents just told them, just go and prepare for UPSC. If you cleared, that's good. If not, you have business back there. But not everyone, like I come from a very low middle class family.
Yes, sir.
So in that case we need to have backup. So what I suggest generally is, if you even if you want to go for UPSC,
Mm-hmm.
go when you are passing your graduation, give
Mm-hmm.
your 1 or 2 years to UPSC.
Mm-hmm.
Just in 1 or 2 years you will achieve a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, you will have to just polish yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the basic preparation has already been done.
Yes, sir.
So after that, you need to shift towards a government job or certain security. Not if you are not getting into government job, then you can pursue the such type of courses also. You can pursue masters, or you can go for higher studies as well.
Yes, sir.
And along with that, you can also pursue UPSC if you are that much interested in that also. Because if you will totally, focus, you will be focused on UPSC only.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there is like very uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
You do not know what is going to happen. So there must be a backup plan. There must be something. If you are not clearing UPSC, then
Mm-hmm.
you should have something.
Exactly.
Other than that, generally people I've seen they spend 6 7 years in UPSC preparation, and then
Mm-hmm.
they are lost. Like they do not have anything to do.
Yes, sir.
Some people work in coaching industry after that. That is one option, but not everybody can do that.
Mm-hmm. So, I think you mean to say that UPSC shall not be a primary goal of a person, because I think it's a competitive exam and there are chances of success and losses there, right, sir?
Yeah, yeah,
A
right.
person
See,
shall have that.
you can have primary goal, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to shift. You have to learn to change the goals as well. I mean the goal post as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
you, when you are coming out of your college, you are too passionate. You can study for 10 to 12 hours as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that time you have to consume, and your primary goal should be UPSC so that you can achieve a certain level. But after that, you have to be little kind to yourself so that you can have something at your backup as well.
Back.
That
Exactly,
is
sir. It was really
sometimes
clear.
what happens if you gave if gave you first attempt, and you
Mm-hmm.
cleared prelim,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like you either you cleared prelims, or you were too close to prelims, like
Mm-hmm.
clearing, like you left out by just 1 marks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, usually what happens is the aspirants think that they are too close now, they can do it, so they'll give 1 more year. So again they'll 1 mark short of the cutoff, again they'll think. So
Mm-hmm.
this thing go on with to many years.
Hmm.
They spend because they think they are very close and they'll do it, but it's all luck game.
It
I
is
know.
certainly based on luck also, and if a person doesn't accept that, okay, this is my limit, it becomes a problem. That time I feel so. So it was great knowing it from your side, as we and like me, from a student's perspective, I'm telling you, see this thing that people get indulged in it. We are very confused in this specific factor. We stay preparing for UPSC for 3 years, 4 years, and what happens at the end, that we lose the modern skills which we had previously, because again we passed our colleges or did our masters or undergraduate 3 4 years ago. Now those skills are outdated, and the person becomes certainly handicapped in this scenario. So uh,
Right.
and there are teachers, I would absolutely not name any or certainly blame anyone, but there are institutions and teachers forcing children that you shall do UPSC only and you shall not focus on anything else. There shall not be any plan B for you. But I think it is very important for the students to understand that there shall be a plan B if you are coming from a middle class family or certainly a family belonging to a working class. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing for you would be that you support your family. So it, it's
Right.
not
It has become fashion to these days
exactly
because
so.
coaching industry
Hmm,
is on full capitalist mode. So they
exactly
want
so.
more and more
Exactly
people
so.
preparing to be IAS. See, I think one more thing I would like to add.
Hmm.
The primary goal, first of all, we should not be very uh, what we say, very strict towards our goals or whatever the passions or anything you can say,
Hmm.
especially like if so, I've seen people who, one of my friend is from Bihar.
Hmm.
He is preparing for UPSC from I think nearly uh, 10 12 years.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
he was preparing in like when he was 21, and now I think he's 30, over 32, because he has reservation as well. So this is because of they are very, like, they think they cannot imagine their world beyond IAS, because they have imagined so much. They have visualized themselves
In the
in a
position
UPSC
of
hall.
an
Yeah. So so that is also not right. I think the primary goal of every student or everyone should be to enhance our capability, so that more capable I am in any field.
Mhm.
But the main thing is, if more to enhance myself so that I can contribute more to the society or in any field where I am. So main thing is to enhance myself. If
Mhm.
I am reading Lakshmi Kant or whatever the books we usually read in IES, so I'm again and again reading, I'm cramming same book with certain current affairs and all.
Mhm.
So in 10 years, I'm master in certain books,
Mhm.
but it has not, it may enhance your capability in certain sense,
Mhm.
but it is not holistically developing a person, because you are into a certain nest and you are trying
Mhm.
to master those certain aspects of it. So
Exactly.
that is also, so wherever I'm going, we should be like that. Wherever I get a chance, I have to enhance myself. I have to enhance my capabilities so that I can contribute more to the society. That should be the goal.
Exactly, sir. And I think in UPSC itself, people read ethics and they tend to forget these things, that personal ethics or certainly being true to oneself. They forget these kinds of
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
And knowing it from you was something which was very important for our viewers, because most of them are youth. They are going to appear for UPSC or are planning for it. So, thank you for this information. Now, moving forward, sir, we come to you again. Uh, you did grow up in Kathua district of Jammu, if I'm not wrong. So,
Yes, yes,
how
right.
how did it influence your passion for heritage and culture? Because this is the same district which, if I'm not wrong, so there is a Sun Temple also in Jammu. So, which is very historic. I wanted to know something more about it.
Marthan Sun Temple is in Kashmir,
Yes, sir.
but there are many places in our Katua district as well, in Jammu province as well.
Okay.
See, my ancestry is from Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It's
Okay.
Plandri district of Punch region.
Yeah.
Basically we have a Punch district in Pakistan, like Pakistan occupied Kashmir, as well as
Mm-hmm.
in Jammu and Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
Before 1947 tribal invasion, Punch was a district, and two-third of that, two-third of the area of Punch
Mm-hmm.
district was occupied by Pakistan, and one-third is with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I am from the Pakistani part. So we migrated, we displaced from POK, and now we are being settled in Katua district.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that Punchi culture as well, like the language, Punchi language, and the culture we used to practice there, as well as the Dogra culture here also, in Katua district. So what I have been, when I'm, I grew up in Katua district, and I've seen many heritage places. People
Mm-hmm.
are least bothered about. People are interested in Taj Mahal or
Mm-hmm.
Lal Killa. They know about who built Lal Killa, but
Yes,
they
sir.
are not even interested, or they didn't even know about a ruined palace around them in their city. They don't even know
Mm-hmm.
about who built them, because I think we lack that the regional history part in our books, or even in other sense also. People are not aware about their heritage. People celebrate the people who are being celebrated in books or in media,
Mm-hmm.
like people. I'm talking about a palace like Basoli Palace.
Mm-hmm.
Basoli is a town in Kathua district,
Yes,
and
sir.
we have a very great palace. It used to have seven-story palace, and it has been talked about in GT Vigne. A traveler also went through
Mm-hmm.
Kathua district, and he also wrote about the magnificence of that palace. But people are, and it was also ruled by Dogra king. But people do not associate with that Dogra king,
Mm-hmm.
because it is in, uh, people associate themselves with the Dogra Empire, which is settled in Jammu, the main Jammu district or Jammu town,
Mm-hmm.
which is like Hari Singh, and which you must have heard, the Dogra dynasty.
Yes, sir.
But so because they are more celebrated, because they have conquered these regions and that regions, they have heard about how the stories of those kings, so they associate with them, not with their local ruler, who was also so big at in his time period.
Yes, sir.
So when I was, I shifted from UPSC to history.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, I came to know about this heritage studies and all these things. So then I realized that there are so many heritage structures in our region, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody is even talking about them.
Exactly.
So I thought it is my, again, like I earlier said, that you have to use your capabilities to contribute to the society. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought I can do that. So
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I started doing by spending my own money. I started visiting those places. I made a small team, 4 or 5 people we had, and we used to go to different places, even in the Pahadi regions, very secluded forts. Nobody who used to go there.
Mm-hmm.
We went there, we documented them, and we just started in a very small scale. And then I got a project from INTACH to I got to document these places, and I received 1.5 lakh as well.
Mm-hmm.
Financial support I also got. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a motivation for me. So then we went to many places, even the temples which are now under threat also,
Mm-hmm.
because of many reasons, like even demography change is one reason. So we went there also, we documented them, and we videographed them. We even we have done geo mapping of them, using GIS maps. We have, like, completely whatever we could do, the best we have done for the temples.
Yes, sir. Sir, do you certainly feel that the government of India, or certainly the governments around the world, tend to be ignorant towards their cultural heritage? As such, what I have seen, that I have went to multiple historic temples, or certainly architectures, and I have seen them being broken down or demolished in a very absurd manner. No one is taking care of them. What are your views on this, sir? Like, do you think the government is playing their rightful part in preserving these monuments?
See, I think this governments generally work on those aspects where they are going to get votes. So when people, there should be an awareness among people.
Mm-hmm.
When people will demand, then government will work. Otherwise government will satisfy people. In our area, in my area, nobody is even concerned about the roads being prepared. People want a person, like if you have some personal work with your local MLA, and
Mm-hmm.
if local MLA is doing that, if local MLA is visiting in your some certain ceremonies, then
Mm-hmm.
people are happy.
Mm-hmm.
People are not, because even a road is being constructed or bridge is being constructed, people do not consider as, people think that it's okay, but what he has done for me. So
Mm-hmm.
that again, the road is still being used by people, so there is still a, useful aspect of it. But when it comes to heritage places like
Mm-hmm.
forts, palaces, and even temples, people do not have, direct link with those them. People think, what benefit it would have for me. So in that way there is no awareness. In
Mm-hmm.
either, there are some temples where people worship their deities. So in that case they have that faith in those temples, then they'll demand. And these temples are being, even cared by, preserved by temples as well, and protected by governments as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there are many temples are very secular buildings which
Mm-hmm.
people are least concerned about, because they are not going to impact them in any way. Though it can have an impact through heritage tourism and other things, but people are not aware of that. So until or unless people won't demand from government, government is least concerned about these things.
Yes, sir.
Or we need some leader who is so aware or who is so concerned, then he can do something. Otherwise, so government have plenty of works, they won't focus on these things.
Exactly, sir. And I feel there is a lack of social responsibility in people also, or
True.
being educated towards their own culture or heritage, which results in these things. For example, I have seen buildings which carry a lot of importance in areas. People have written I love, or certainly some rubbish there, or just defacing the monuments in order to just show that they are the Napoleon of that area, and they want to tell that, "Ah, okay, I have been there." So this is certainly what I have personally observed. And
True,
so,
true. I have also seen. I have also documented as well. In a research paper I've written, I went to a ancient fort. It's more than 1,000 years, and I found a male contraceptive there.
oh,
I have even written that also.
so these things are actually very saddening, that people are not respecting these areas. And certainly, I don't know. I feel it is somewhere itself in India. It only because I remember I went to I think where I went, I am not able to recount Mongolia. So they have kept their all monuments very clean. There are specific staff allotted there that are responsible to take care of it. There are guards who are taking care of everything, that nobody defaces anything or certainly throws anything anywhere. So there is a lack of responsibility towards the government, and also the public also, because they themselves are not respecting their cultural heritage and certainly their own properties. So this thing is very common nowadays, I feel.
Even I visited one of a fort in my region. It's
Mhm.
Baddu Fort, and when I went there and I didn't found anything, so
Mhm.
I was surprised that where is the fort. So I went and then I asked to a local shopkeeper, and he told me that there used to be a fort, but the bricks and the stones were
Mhm.
with which it was built. People took the stones and built their own homes, and so today there is nothing left.
Exactly, exactly. And in class 12th, I remember I read about the stupa of Amravati. This similar thing
Hmm.
happened there also. People took a
Yes,
break and tried to build their houses. It is very irritating, yet it happens. Sir,
yes, yes.
moving next. Sir, what are your thoughts on the issue concerning Kashmir right now? Like the Pakistan occupied Kashmir thing, and currently the abolition of 370, how it has affected the area, according to you?
See, Kashmir, I think the main problem with Kashmir would be, and I think was, is, and will be the religion factor.
Mm-hmm.
Until and unless there is a big religious division in Kashmir and Jammu,
Mm-hmm.
and even the whole thing. Though Kashmir doesn't want to, go to Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think that if Pakistan will be destabilized or broken or something, then Kashmir issue will be solved. No, Kashmir people do not want to go to Pakistan. They are just using Pakistan as a shoulder to fire or whatever we can say,
Uh-huh.
uh, because they know Kashmir people have that proud to on in their ethnicity or their regional. They know Kashmir is so valuable. They know how history has treated Kashmir. So they know the value and the strategic value, the beauty of Kashmir. They know that value. So they know they want to be independent. And again, even like in Jammu region also, Jammu is also very beautiful. But the promotion of Jammu has not been as compared. It we cannot compare the promotion which Kashmir has got.
Yes, sir. It becomes
But Jammu,
overshadowed somewhere because of Kashmir, because it has become the main concerning area, Jammu, and the areas concerning around it becomes sometimes overshadowed because of it. I have also felt
see,
this.
yes, and even Jammu has more area in his. The, so it has not just area but population also. It has more population. Again, like we are saying Pakistan occupied Kashmir,
Mhm,
but it is Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir,
mhm,
because um, the districts which are in Pakistan occupied PoJK,
mhm,
it has more districts, like Mirpur district is from Jammu province. The
mhm,
Punch district is from Jammu province.
mhm,
Only one district, that is Muzaffarabad, it's from Kashmir province. So
mhm,
two districts are from Jammu province as well, but still there is a perception like we say POK, not
mhm,
POJK.
mhm.
So that is you are true that Kashmir, the historically, and in what sense we can say that Kashmir has shined
Overshadowed.
so much that the Jammu has been lost in its brightness.
Exactly, yeah.
So that is one thing. Also, the problem, what you asked me, is the people. When in Jammu region we are having a system, like we have education, uh, which is the books we are reading is coming from Indian government, and we have certain connection with Indian government. We have a huge population which is serving in army as well.
Mhm,
So we have that patriotic thing. We and again one more thing, that the Dogras of Jammu know that we cannot survive without India.
yes, sir.
Again, because of the religious factor, because of the religion factor
Mhm,
somewhere, because they know that we cannot, because they have experienced things in the past which
mhm.
might be other in part of India has not been yet witnessed, but we
Exactly.
have witnessed those things. So we, the people of Jammu region, are aware of that.
Mhm,
Again, when it comes to Kashmir,
mhm,
all the things like which can generate or which can ignite that patriotism in them
mhm,
is missing in Kashmir. First
mhm,
and foremost is the religion factor.
mhm,
And secondly, even if we try to touch them through schools, they have
mhm,
madrasas and other religious institutions
mhm,
which give them that touch of their difference, and the me and other wali feeling they have.
mhm,
Also, the army at a certain period, when the Kashmiri Pandits were
mhm,
expelled out of that region, at
mhm,
that time, army men were also very angry.
mhm,
So they have also done many mistakes. They have also, when they are finding, when they got to know that there is a militant or terrorist hiding in certain village, and villagers are trying to hide them. So
Hmm.
army sometimes used to do excesses.
Hmm.
It's true. Huh? So they used to then kill some people unnecessarily also.
Hmm.
So those things became examples. They
Hmm.
became examples, and they still use
Hmm.
those examples to tell their children that Indian army is killing us and all.
Hmm.
But this shouldn't be done. Like it has done to even Hindus of Jammu as well.
Yes.
I don't know you remember or not. It was in 2010, I think, when Amarnath Yatra,
Hmm.
Amarnath,
Yes, correct. Hmm.
so there is a yatra which goes from Pahalgam, and there are two routes in Anantnag district also. So
Hmm.
there are land uh, which was the land from which that yatra goes on.
Hmm.
It belongs to Kashmiri people or the Muslims of that region, and there was some dispute. I do not remember the clear what was the dispute, but it was regarding the land of that
Hmm.
region. So for the government has given that land to the people or something like that was the case. But what happened is at that time the Hindus of Jammu were protesting against that,
Hmm.
and that protest went long. It was around 110 days strike, and I
Hmm.
still remember I was in 11th class. And in that strike, Indian army, in the firing of Indian army during those protests to suppress that protest, around more than 100 people were died, and they were all Hindus.
Hmm.
So some I use it as an example to
Hmm.
tell people, if we have to go against India, we
Hmm.
could have used that thing,
Hmm. Absolutely.
that Indian army is doing. See, certain people in Indian army or certain event kills if some people. It can happen anywhere. Anywhere.
Hmm.
It is a big organization, but there
Absolutely.
are things which things can go wrong somewhere.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean I go against the country.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
But in Kashmir, that is happening,
Hmm.
and that is happening because of religion, and that might be the case if suppose India would have were a Muslim country, and
Hmm.
we were Hindu, and that army would have been Muslim, and we then Muslims have Muslim army would have killed us if
Hmm.
we just opposite the things, the
Hmm.
scenario. Then might have been the case, Hindus were doing the same.
Hmm.
They would have been asking that, see, Muslims have been killing us, and all the things work like that.
Hmm.
And obviously the political elements are there, those
Absolutely.
who are in
Hmm.
so they use those elements, and the religion is the biggest
Factor.
medium to
Exactly.
uh,
And absolutely, sir. Politicians certainly try to play these things out. Minorities in general or majority, they tend to get afraid of different things. For example, there are certain politicians who tell the majority that, okay, this community is going to become the majority in some years, and you are going to become the minority, and they are going to rule over you. The majority right now becomes afraid of them. They start doing certain things which they are not supposed to do, and certainly these similar things happen in the minority community as well. And this is certainly not any mistake of a person or civilian. And absolutely, the cases you have told, the killing during the protest, or certainly things similar to it, are absolutely
I
of grievance. Yes, sir.
I would like to add one thing in here also.
Mhm.
See, in this religion debate, especially in Jammu and Kashmir,
Mhm.
there are sometimes when I think that how can we solve this issue. So
Mhm.
then I feel like, can we like Hindus and Muslims, can we live together?
Absolutely, sir.
Like if
Mhm.
so can we live together in Jammu and Kashmir with India? Like even when Muslims think that no, like Muslims prefer a secular nation rather than a country like Pakistan or whatever, if they want their independent nation as well. So there are some questions which come to my mind. First
Mhm.
question is, can these two religious ideologies
Mhm.
coexist? I was reading Ambedkar, and in his book Thoughts on Pakistan, he talks about it.
Mhm.
Islam as an ideology is it exclusivist ideology, I would say, because if there are certain things, if a particular community who
mm,
thinks like we are imagining a community which worships which is a idol worshipping community,
mm,
and for other community it is like sin. Then again, in one community, like we are saying, like one community it's only one god, and that is it. And for another community it's like any god is coming,
mm,
so again, one more thing, if there are like both, if we say like it's secularism and every god is same,
mm,
then how would we justify conversion then?
mm,
Because if Ram is equal to Allah or Jesus, or God, whatever,
mm,
then there should be no concept of conversion, because God is God. Then what,
mm,
we are just changing the name.
mm,
But see, then when these elements are there,
mm,
then it's very easy for politicians or religious leaders to use
mm.
that and divide the people, because
Exactly.
there are certain things in the religious text as well.
Mm,
And when we'll not question the religious text or
mm,
even amend the religious text to a certain, to not
mm.
completely, but to just make them like uh,
More secular
you
or common forum.
to that, make them compatible to this, to our times, to
Mm,
the modern times. We
yes,
have
sir.
to change them.
Mm,
If so, until unless we do not do that, it's
mm,
very hard for people to live together, because there would be somebody who will
mm,
come and use these these things. If they, when you go to some certain Punch region or some regions where there is Muslim majority,
mm,
it's very easy for a religious reader to tell them ki how can somebody uh, worship Krishna? There is only one God, and that is Allah.
mm,
It's disrespect to their God. If I am worshipping some other God, it's disrespect for him being majority in that region.
mhm.
So right, so there would be somebody who will tell them, and the
Yes, sir.
situation will.
Here in Banaras, we say कि लोगों को बरगलाना. This is the actual word which we use for these things.
True, true.
So, see, it is on the people how they perceive it and how they understand it. It is certainly, if even if we try to explain these things to people who have gone that extremist, they won't understand that unless and until they are educated from an early age. That, see, you need to understand, first of all, you need to understand the actual meaning of secularism in general. For example, when I started studying political science, it was the first subject which interested me, the actual meaning of
Hmm.
secularism, because it is different for all the countries. In France, the secular meaning doesn't affect the government at all. They don't care what a person's religion is, what he or she is practicing, what they are doing. They are not supposed to show the symbols in public. A woman who is a Muslim, it is what I have read in past, cannot wear hijab or certainly anything in the workplace. A Hindu person shall not wear all that rudraksh over their shirt or symbolize that they are actually the Hindus. Or Christian cannot wear the cross on above their shirt. It is not of public interest. Whereas in India, it is an interest of the government and the public in general. But it is certainly not affecting any other person. And it is on the people to understand that any religion or certainly anything is not going to affect them as person right now. So, as of in this case, we shall see how people get educated in the future.
So there is a country, I do not remember it's Armenia or Azerbaijan in
Mhm,
Central Asia.
mhm,
They have a rule, and I really liked it. Ki
mhm,
They uh, the child which the person who is 18, below 18 years,
mhm,
he doesn't have any religion. After 18 years, he chooses a religion. See, when somebody, like you said, ki people are educated and all, but people are already, when they are growing up, they are educated in a certain way. The
mhm,
religious education, is indoctrinated in them in a
mhm,
very, very early phase of their life.
mhm,
So when they grow up with a certain ideology or certain fear,
mhm,
it's very hard for them to get out of that.
Hmm.
even if they find something wrong.
Hmm.
Even also there are um, fears also, like they if once you are born into it, and they in at certain period of their life or moment of their life, they realize that it's not
Hmm.
right religion, or I want to change it.
Hmm.
Especially in the Abrahamic religion, it's very hard for them to change the religion or be atheist.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's very, because there are certain punishments of apostasy as
Hmm.
well. So we need to have this kind of thing,
Hmm.
like a child wants to learn religion, because you cannot understand religions are deep philosophies.
Hmm.
We cannot understand them in at age of 10 or 12.
Hmm.
The religions can only be understand when we have maturity, at least we are over 15 or 18 years, then only we can understand these deep
Hmm.
philosophies.
Hmm.
When we are teaching them at very younger age, at 5 or 10 or 12, see, we can teach them certain rituals or certain things, that's okay, the part of culture.
Hmm.
But we are giving them philosophies which they are not able to, they won't understand.
Hmm.
They'll just practice it, and with certain period of time it becomes part of their life, and
Yes, sir.
then it becomes very hard for them to question that.
Hmm. That
See,
that thing starts getting solid in a person's mindset that okay, okay, this is the only truth, and I shall only believe in this, and I shall not believe in this. So absolutely, a person shall have that freedom of choosing his or her mindset or ideology, and I think it is certainly a cognitive job of a person's own brain to work on it. So,
true.
moving forward, I came to learn that you have also written a book. So, sir, what led you to write October 1947, and how did you approach blending historical fact with fiction? If I am not wrong.
Right, right. See, when I, I, I think it was in 2018. I think when I just came out of this UPSC phase,
Hmm.
and I was doing masters as well. So
Hmm.
I, at that time, was just searching how the research happens, how these all things happens.
Hmm.
And during that period, I don't know from where I got the inspiration that I should talk to people who have experienced the partition,
Hmm.
because they were all in their 90s and
Hmm.
around 80s, 90s, and
Hmm.
I had that feeling that after a few years, there will be no such people
Hmm.
who have actually experienced those days. So I thought of interviewing them so that I can have some record of what they have gone through. So I started interviewing them without having anything in my mind that write a book or do something else. So
Hmm.
I went to one, I think two, three people I interviewed, and in during with, I think it was my first interview. It was
Hmm.
my first interview with Tulsi ji.
Hmm.
He's no more now.
Hmm.
He died, last year, last to last year.
Hmm.
So I, when I heard his story, it was like I couldn't even imagine like what he has gone through. It
Hmm.
was a very shocking story for me.
Hmm.
So at that day only, I I decided I have to write. I have to write.
Okay.
So from there, I went on to interview some more people, and
Hmm.
then uh, with that the historical backdrop, I had that how the things were happening there, how Maharaja was reacting, how the organizations like National Conference, Muslim Conference was working,
Hmm.
how Pakistan or the tribal invasion thing happened. I just took that backdrop,
Hmm.
and at the same time these stories.
Yes, sir.
So in a way, I just blended them and presented in a story.
That was great to know, sir. And what key message do you want the readers to take away from your book?
See, first of all, this I would say the struggle.
Hmm.
How a 5 year girl, one of the she's still alive, thankfully. Lajwanti ji,
Hmm.
she was 5 years old, and when she was in a village, her house was, it was, I think, two houses she has, and one of her relatives were living close to them. And she went to, and also all the surrounding region was totally covered in jungle. And when she, her mother told her to go take her animals to feed them, she went, uh, took her animals and went in the valley. And when she returned, she found there was nobody at her home. Her home was locked, the neighbors locked, and if there were some three four houses in the village around, she ran there and she found nobody was there. So she was left all alone in that whole jungle. She spent 6 to 7 days around there all alone. How she spent those nights, how, what was coming to her mind, what was that fear, the when the night was approaching, that, though the struggle of those people, there were many. It's one story. I have, there are two three more stories which are part of my book. uh, Again, the Tulsi ji, he was 17-year old, and how he was struggling, how all alone he was, because see, in in Punjab, partition in Punjab or Bengal, there were planes and there were trains, and these people knew where to go. Like, see, Pakistani Hindus, they knew that there is, this is the line, and this line we have to cross, and then we'll be safe there. Again, the Muslims in India also, Indian Punjab also, they knew that we have to cross this line. But in Jammu and Kashmir, there was no such line. They didn't know where to go, because there was, according to them, Jammu Kashmir was part of, was under Maharaja. So they have that idea where to go. So they were just running here and there. So how that the 17-year-old or 5-year-old, such small younger people, how they managed to survive, or how they were reacting to those times. Our current generation would come to know that how much we are getting, and still we are complaining. You do not
Actually,
know what you yeah, you do not even, you cannot even imagine how your grandfathers, or how your, there used to be a generation, what they have gone through, and still they haven't complained anything. They real against, like our ancestors, my ancestors, they have zero. They worked in as a labor in, the road construction in this highway. Uh, from that, from from a labor to again, they have stood again, and they have made, because their newer generations are today, they have been educated, they are, reaching to newer heights now. But that is something to learn, how these people haven't complained, they just worked and just stood.
exactly, sir. And merely hearing about these stories gives me chills. I like when you told about the girl uh, who was all alone in the forest area, or Tulsi Ji's stories. It is very frightening, to be frank, and their experience would be very horrifying if I am correct. And learning about those experience
Yes, yes.
is some other kind of thing which one can't imagine. We would be, if you don't have any problem, we can attach your book's link at the bottom in the description. If people want to read it, they can just purchase the book.
Sure, sure, thank you.
It would be great. So, moving forward, what drew your focus on partition studies, and what lesser known stories have you uncovered?
uh, See, stories, generally, I won't say it's partition.
Hmm,
It's the tribal invasion, I would say.
hmm,
See, in Jammu and Kashmir, the tribal invasion happened on October
1947.
1947. It was exactly on 21st October the tribal invasion started.
Hmm,
Though there were riots, communal riots already happening,
hmm,
and then in 1949, this ceasefire line was drawn, and the people were divided. The state was divided.
hmm.
So what these people I have grown up into this society, but my family has never talked about these experiences. I don't know why. Maybe see what some we it's I think in our nature also what we have suffered. We usually do not
Mhm.
want to discuss those things.
We tend to keep it with ourselves
Ha.
rather than moving forward with it. Yes, sir.
If something has happened to somebody's
Mm,
any woman in the house,
mm,
so nobody wants to discuss that.
mm,
They just want to ignore those aspects. So I never heard anything of any violence or anything
mm,
until I started taking interest into it. Nobody told me.
mhm,
My grandfather, it was in 2016 or 17. My
mhm,
grandfather was ill and he was almost in his deathbed. So
mm,
I thought I should. These people have never, when they left their homes,
mm,
they didn't knew that it was going to be like they left it forever. They thought
mm,
it's a temporary thing,
mhm,
because again, as I told you that there was no line and they didn't know, they thought it's a communal violence for some time and they'll return back. So they left everything, even the
mm,
gold and all the bullion they have, they all buried there in their homes as well. They thought they'll return,
mm.
but suddenly they got a shock that they will never ever see their homes again. So
Which is
they
permanently lost.
give a farewell to their place. So that is the feeling I could imagine. So I thought I should actually through this Google Earth show
Mm,
my grandfather his place. So I
mm,
started locating in on Google Earth.
mm,
I told him, I asked him like where is the place. I tried to locate, but I couldn't locate because it's whole forest and it's
mm,
very hard to find
mm,
places. So also the names of villages has also been changed. So it's very hard for to locate. So in during that when I was locating the village, I
mm,
saw tears in my grandfather's eyes.
mm,
So he told me, यार क्या दिखा दिया तूने यार, ऐसे ही अब जाते जाते तू ये सब चीजें दिखा रहा है. तो इस मतलब he his words and the emotions which he had, that day I felt it like whatever the feeling they had, which we as new coming generation, the newer generation, we didn't have anything.
mm,
We do not have any connection to the Pakistan
mhm.
occupied either
That that
the
sense of attachment is not there, and it must have felt like a still pain in the heart. I don't know how I can explain it, but um,
yes, yes.
losing his home and seeing it again at that specific timing must be something very.
See, you can imagine, sir, I come to your home and tell you like let's go somewhere for a
Mm,
while,
mm,
and you just leave everything and start walking with me, and suddenly and now you cannot return
mm.
ever.
It,
So
it,
you
it,
can imagine the pain. See, you
absolutely.
will never see your home again. So that is the thing which they have suffered. It was,
Mm,
I think, very different from what has happened in Punjab and in
absolutely.
Bengal. Was also unfortunate,
Mm.
but they have been gone through a very different,
So,
phase of
in the
violence.
case of other partitions, people were knowing, ki, okay, we are going to leave this place, and we most probably won't be coming back here. But in the case of, I think, the invasion in October 1947, people were removed there saying that, okay, you will return. You don't have to worry about anything. This is a temporary setup. And people came back. And again, this sudden news that, no, you won't be able to go back there because there is a line drawn, there is a ceasefire because Pandit Nehru went to United Nations and had it declared. And
Yes.
now your
See,
homes. Yes, sir.
again, one more thing, they didn't have any roads or train to travel.
Hmm.
So they were traveling through, or they were just, I think, they were moving through the forests.
Hmm.
And the main paths of main tracks, whatever we can say, or pathways,
Hmm.
they were, the invaders were sitting there,
Hmm.
and they have blocked those all the paths, so
Hmm.
they had to move through the deeper into the jungles. And when you move through the jungles, you do not have any idea of the like where you are going. So like
Hmm.
Tulsi ji also told me
mm,
in his interview. He said I was moving to around one hill only for
mm,
7 days. I
mhm,
used to move and run, and then suddenly I used to realize that I am at the same place.
mhm.
So he was moving here and there only at the same hill. So it was
Absolutely.
also the they didn't have a like straight roads
Mhm.
and think you just
And there
move
must
and
have not been any way to locate, ki, okay, this is the place where I have been, and this is the way I had to go. And it must have been very confusing. So,
when they settled. One more thing, when they settled in Punch
mhm,
camp, there was a camp, not camp. Basically, people just all the people around the region they settled in. Uh, they stayed in Punch town,
mhm,
which is currently with India.
mhm,
So then they realized that now it's very hard for them to go
mhm,
back. So many people they decided to go back to their homes
mhm,
and get the bullion and whatever the precious they had to
mhm,
get those precious items with them.
mhm,
So those who went back to
mhm.
get those precious things with them, they never returned. They were also killed.
They must have been killed, exactly. So, moving forward, we know that you have been playing a key role in preserving the Shiv Shakti temple and doing research around it. Can you share the highlights of your project documenting the Shiv Shakti temple in Kathua?
Yes, I have submitted with INTACH this Shiv Shakti Temples project.
Mm,
I'm working, first of all, in Shiv Shakti temples. There are temples, especially in these Pahadi regions, we find Shiv Shakti temples only.
mm,
There are very few Vishnu temples.
mhm,
So, in even in Shiv Shakti, Shiv temples are usually found in towns,
mm,
and Shakti temples are in the hill peaks, hilltops.
mhm,
So, and these temples, in my research, I have tried to understand many things
mhm.
in Shiv. I can show you certain photos as well. I'll share my screen if you
Sure.
permit.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I'll share in a while. Again, in my research, I've tried to understand the influence of temple culture of temples
Mm,
and the Pahadi cultures, like
mhm,
how these are interacting.
mhm,
See, if there is a temple in a certain village, like there is a Dola temple
mhm,
and Dole Mata,
mhm,
there is a tradition that they use non-veg. So there is animal slaughter happens there and
mhm,
animal sacrifice.
mhm,
And in animal sacrifice, after
mhm,
the animal sacrifice, they use that non-veg items as prasad as well. So
mhm,
there is a langar of non-veg veg as well.
mhm,
So in that way, it affects the local society as well. That local society is more of non-vegetarian.
mhm,
That is why. In certain regions, like in Sukrala Mata, there is a forest, Sukral forest, and
mhm,
that Sukral forest is considered to be the forest of goddess.
mhm,
So when it is considered to be the forest of goddess, nobody in that region cuts the trees of that forest
mhm,
without the permission of God. They
mhm,
do not kill animals of that forest.
mhm,
So in a way, it they are both impacting each other,
mhm,
and also it's a very good thing if we consider from the environment point of view
mhm,
how people. So that is general thing I've tried to do. There are many elements as well to which like how temples and culture impact, like the temples
mhm,
who are in towns, which are in towns, they are actually uh, they used to have that practice of animal sacrifice, but now they do not have because the culture in the towns have changed.
mhm,
They are more modernized. So
mhm,
this is how the local community or the culture of local community impacting the temple as well, temples as well.
mhm.
So I'll show you some photos also.
Awesome.
Okay.
Uh, Let me just.
Uh, is my screen visual?
Yes, 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 sir. It is clearly visible, sir.
Okay, yeah. See, I'll show you. Like this is Dola Mata temple. My photos. See, these are very beautiful places as well.
Mhm.
See, this is the temple, and
This is,
these
it's
are the mountains
mesmerizing.
surrounding. Yeah, yes, it's very beautiful. Again, I'll show you our district. It's more than 1,000 years.
I,
Mahabilvakesh.
and most probably it would be Lord Shiva's temple. If,
Yes, yes, Lord Shiva's temple.
um,
It's almost broken, and the many of the icons here are broken, and
mhm.
many sculptures who are not, their limbs are being broken, their nose are being smashed. It seems that it has been, it has faced attack
Yes,
at certain period.
it seems like it because the amount of damage seeing in the statues or certainly the idols, it seems like that was an invasion or certainly some kind.
Yeah,
So
there
this
are
is
stories like folk people believe that it was attacked.
this
This is again our good temple, but nota.
is-
See this place.
these all are temples or
13 temples, Devi temples.
okay.
It's,
No, actually, I myself am a devotee of Lord Shiva and Lord Kali. So, till according to my knowledge, which I might be mistaken, people used to create Devi's temple in forest as normal people never used to worship her. It was certainly the ascetics or monks who used to do it. So, it certainly takes on
see,
that value.
I'll stop presenting. See, I think there were certain, I have, in my documentation, I found there were many kings as well who
Mhm,
used to worship. They have Kali Mata as their Kul Devi.
mhm,
There is a hut fort, and
mhm,
there is a Kali temple. It's very ancient,
mhm,
and it was worshipped by a king.
mhm,
But again, that the monks wala thing in our region, I think goddess worship is mass worship.
mhm,
It's because there are many goddesses even in my region. Like when we migrated from
mhm,
Punch, we
mhm,
settled in a village here named Sunehri,
mhm,
and there also, there we at certain point of time, we, I
mhm,
think it's after 10 years,
mhm,
when we settled here in 1950s,
mhm,
uh, we 1960s, early 1960s, we have we also what we say consecrate Devi there.
mhm,
So we also have, we now we are migrated from that village as well, but the
mhm,
Devi is still there. We worship her.
mhm,
So what I have felt, that Devis are the concept of Shakti is very much related to uh, these are living deities.
mhm.
They
True, true.
talk to you. They
Mhm.
tell you what to do and what not to do. See,
Exactly.
like we built the temple, there are a sacred space there.
Mhm,
It was because the Devi started, that system of people, the trance wala thing, people
yes,
talk and
yes.
goddess.
Mhm,
So in that way, Devi talks to you
mhm,
and tell you, do this, build a temple here, or whatever the things.
mhm,
So in Pahadi regions as well, there are
mhm,
stories where Devi used to come, and Devi told them to do that. In
mhm,
certain regions, there is, today also there is a day
mhm,
when Devi, comes to in the priest, and she performs various rituals.
mhm,
Like there is bull worship after 4 years in a temple,
mhm.
and the priest drinks the sorry, this
Blood.
blood of that. uh, so that I asked the priest, what do you feel when you drink the blood? He says, I do not feel anything at that time.
Mhm.
It is the Devi. I do not know how does that happen, and what is the so that, I think it's all about the
Belief
livingness of.
system and livingness of the deity, absolutely, sir. So moving forward, how do you envision Intact's role in preserving Jammu's culture and heritage?
Intact's role. I think Intact is very new to Jammu region. It's been into Kashmir. See again, the problem is same. People, the governments have been very focused towards Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
Now in Jammu, people in recent 5-10 years we are seeing some progress.
Mm-hmm.
Intact Jammu chapter is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Intact has basically has chapters.
Mm-hmm.
So Intact Kashmir chapter has done a great work, but Intact Jammu chapter in
Mm-hmm.
recent 5-10 years I've seen many things they are doing, but still it's not like the potential of Intact is so great. But
Mm-hmm.
I
More
there are
can be
many
done.
temples. See, I think more can be done, and the Mr. S.M. Sahni sir, the convener of Jammu chapter. He's doing great, and I am co-convener of Kathua chapter, Kathua sub chapter.
Mm-hmm.
We both we are trying to do as much we can. Like, see, there are phases like we have to document first of all. Then we can have some kind of a research as well. Then we have to locate things key where we can where there is need to repair protection and all the different aspects
Mm-hmm.
for that protection, or even rebuilding some destroyed heritage structures. So again, for that you need funds. Then
Mm-hmm.
you will ask for funds, or you will collaborate with government so that we can get the funds and get things repaired.
Mm-hmm.
Then we also have another aspect, that how can we promote the heritage tourism.
Mm-hmm.
See, we have a bigger player, Kashmir, sitting near to us. So
Mm-hmm.
when somebody like you from Varanasi or somebody from South coming,
Mm-hmm.
he'll prefer go to Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
Why he would choose to go to a lesser known place? Because he doesn't know. So we have to here we have to work a lot so that we can project ourselves as our region as well. That
Yes, sir.
it's that because we can there are certain strategies like in Kashmir or even in
Mm-hmm.
Dalhousie in Himachal Pradesh. It's very near to us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Dharamshala as well. So
Mm-hmm.
these places are saturated, but our region is still peaceful. So we can use certain such strategies to, send that message to the people or the tourists that if you want a peaceful environment, if you want untouched environment, you can
Mm-hmm.
visit our place. So
Mm-hmm.
there are many. It will happen in phases.
Yes, sir. For sure, sir. And we at Taswai would also love to help you with it if we can. And so, moving towards your future endeavors, what are your current research interest for your PhD?
My PhD topic is displacement, rehabilitation, and integration, a
Mm-hmm.
study of PoJK displaced persons in Katua district. So
Mm-hmm.
my study is somewhat related to my the book which we have discussed, though
Yes.
it's a kind of ethnography study because we have uh, like we am studying the PoJK displaced community from since the how they were living in the POK back in 19 before 1947,
Mm-hmm.
and then how
What they
I have
settled
also
on.
studied the violence part and how they were displaced and how the government has received them, how locals have received them,
Mm-hmm.
the whole rehabilitation process.
Mm-hmm.
And the last part is how after like 75 years of their displacement, how are they now,
Mm-hmm.
what is their political status, social status, economic status, so that it's a complete study of that this community.
Exactly,
So
sir.
this is the one part. Along with that, I'm more focused on the heritage thing now.
Mm-hmm.
There is a ancient route which comes from the it's from Chamba to Ramnagar. Ramnagar is in Udhampur district.
Mm-hmm.
So that ancient route, nobody have ever worked on it. There's no documentation and no research on that route. So I'm trying to locate that. I'm trying to, still I'm into very preliminary phase. I'm trying to find some literary evidence of route. After that, I'll be trying to do something. Yeah.
And so, where do you see your work contributing to India's historical cultural disclosure in the future?
See, it's I would I I would say that there are many cultures uh,
Mhm,
which are not being talked about in Indian history or Indian culture.
mhm,
See, one of it is Pahari culture.
mhm,
There are many aspects of it. See, when we say Pahari culture has many aspects, many dimensions.
mhm,
So for that, we have to. There are works which I won't say that it has not been done,
mhm.
but there are they have been done by a very like it. They have been done in
Very
very
loosened
small
format or soft format.
are very also not by historians
Mhm,
also. There are people who have no background or academic background. They are
mhm,
enthusiastic and do work,
mhm,
but such works do not have that bigger audience, and people do not consider that work at with the academic works. So uh, these aspects again, the POK displaced persons, they
mhm,
have a culture.
mhm,
They have that element of Pahadi culture with them. So
mhm,
they are all, in a way, their culture is dying these days.
mhm.
So such things need to be preserved, and I think I'm uh, trying my best, and I'll inspire others also, so that they can also find these small histories, these small cultures, which is happening around us. So that we are talking about regional history, we are talking about oral history these days. So these are elements of these
Yes,
these
sir.
small things. So we have to, I would say,
So,
I'm trying to my works may inspire somebody so that they can also contribute in this field.
yes, sir. And but to be frank, till what we have discussed in the podcast, it seems that you have been doing a lot of work in this specific field, sir. And I would personally would like to thank you for it. And like
Welcome.
there were multiple things that people are not knowing. One of them, you spoke about the Dogra culture. So can you just tell something about the Dogra culture to the viewers also, as we are certainly not knowing much about it, as you have informed that there were two Dogra cultures and later on they got mixed up and things. So can you?
See, am with Dogra culture, so I have a certain knowledge. I would say in certain fields I have knowledge of Dogra culture, though I am not even very fluent in Dogri language as well.
Mm,
So, though, see, if we have to understand Dogra culture,
mhm,
again, Pahadi culture is part of Dogra culture as well. The
mhm.
Pahadis, Pahadi can be a ethnicity. These are very complex things. But to differentiate how the
Of
Dogra
course.
and how the
So
Pahadi thing we have to
it
differentiate,
is.
though at certain point of it, they mix with each other.
Mm, yes,
People
sir.
living in Pahadi regions, they have certain elements. People living in the plains, they have they have some different aspects, and
Mm,
both are Dogras. So
mm,
but with the surroundings of their region, their culture changes. But in general,
mm,
Dogra has been even today, Dogra is very rich in its culture,
mhm,
from intangible culture to intangible culture. See, after I've worked on tangible things, we
mhm,
have Basoli painting. You must
mhm.
have heard about it.
Yes, sir.
Basoli painting comes from it's a part of our culture only. We have it's in Basoli. I also talked about Basoli Palace.
Mhm,
Even in Katua only, there are 12 big forts and palaces, and they are at hilltops. The locations they have chosen, and even the beauty, the even the I would say the structures,
mhm,
they all are, you know it shows the depth of Dogras, or the knowledge of architectural sense of Dogras.
mhm,
Again, the temples we have talked about, like Bilvakeshwar Temple, Mahadera Temple.
mhm,
These are the built elements which are where I have worked on.
mhm,
And in food, again, I there are other aspects which where they are very rich, but I do not have much knowledge about it.
mhm.
Like again, there's food in all. There are local crafts as well. There are many crafts, though
Yes,
I
sir.
am bamboo craft. I not very well versed in this
Yes, sir.
aspect of their culture. So,
Yes, sir.
but I am sure that they have great. Uh,
Sir, and there were certain question also. As while reading your profile, I found out that you are working for this drug abuse case and this substance abuse cases also. Sir, what insight have you gained about the drug abuse in Jammu and Kashmir, and what solution do you advocate?
okay, see, in Katua district or in Jammu and Kashmir,
Mhm.
it's emerging problem
Yes.
in last decade or last 5 10 years. It's I we haven't when we were going. Actually, my voice been repeating. Yes. Okay. Uh,
Mm,
in Jammu and Kashmir, when I was growing, there was no such problem. We didn't hear
mhm.
about these. There was a alcohol problem, but it is a problem everywhere.
Yes, sir.
But these high-end drugs and all these things were not there. So,
Mm,
Punjab we hear. So this
mhm.
in our region or in Kashmir region, our location is very important.
Yes,
Just
sir.
like Kashmir region, many of the drugs come from Pakistan side.
Yes,
In
sir.
our region, like if you consider the geographical position of Kathua, you have border with Pakistan.
Yes,
You
sir.
have border with see here in Punjab. These both are hotspots of these. We call Pakistan also golden crescents. Crescent we say, right? So
It comes under the Golden Triangle. Sorry, the Golden Triangle is of Myanmar and these areas.
it's crescent, golden crescent.
Golden Crescent.
Yeah. So uh, we have like too many sources from where the
Mhm,
drug is coming in.
mhm,
Again, again the problem is what we can say is unemployment and see there are many other factors
mhm,
where people are being targeted,
mhm,
also lack of concern from the political side or the government side.
mhm,
The- so what happened in my study, what I have done is I have tried to compare these theft and crimes
mhm,
parallel to the drug cases.
mhm,
So as the drug cases increase, these crimes and all these aspects also increase.
mhm,
So in a way, what I have proven in my study is if we won't control this drug problem, there will be many other problems parallelly.
mhm,
See, one of the biggest problem is there, like our youth is getting destroyed.
mhm.
We call youth the future of our country, and it is being completely destroyed. No, it's getting totally into
Messed up,
something which
basically.
counterproductive. Yeah, counterproductive for our country.
Mhm,
So that is one. Now the solution part is, see, there are in our district there are no these what we rehab centers.
mhm,
See, rehabilitation centers are very important because if somebody is suffering from, like, if somebody's child is suffering from such kind of
mhm,
problem,
mhm,
how where they go? If they'll stop him doing such drug thing, and they do not, they are not aware of the thing. He
mhm,
might die
mhm.
because he is on habit of doing it. They do
Exactly.
not know how to handle the situation. The
Mhm,
parents are not expert. They need to have some institutional backup so that they can send their word to them, and the government or the experts can handle that situation.
mhm,
Even again, one more problem is like in police stations.
mhm,
If somebody is caught doing some drug thing, and yeah, police also gets afraid of
mhm,
keeping such people with them,
mhm.
because if because these
Something
people
happens
are
to
high.
them. Mhm,
Yeah, if they'll die in the police custody, it will
mhm,
be a problem for them.
mhm.
So they also, think that let it go. They do not take much, trouble on them.
Yes,
So
sir.
so in every way, in many dimensions, these things
Mhm,
will collect and will be very harmful to the society.
mhm,
So from very start, we need to have a system like rehabs. So rehab is a cure, but we need to have a prevention as well.
mhm,
We need to start from very beginning, like in schools, if these things are being promoted, even in media or even movies, things are being promoted, and that is being copied by our youth.
Mm-hmm.
So there needs to be, again, one thing is very important, that
Mm-hmm.
uh, like you also said, that social awareness is very important. That may be for heritage or for the drug even, or any
Yes,
other issue.
definitely.
Society needs to be very aware.
Yes, sir.
That is, cannot leave everything on government or anything that they'll solve it.
Absolutely, sir. And we, as to be frank, as human beings, tend to blame everything on the government, every aspect of
Yes,
our misery to the government or someone else. We need to take matters in our own hands sometimes in order to ensure safety of our own people, our own homes, our own families. Certainly,
true, true.
education plays an important role in it. So, moving towards the closing of this podcast, what advice would you give young professionals looking to transition into unconventional career paths?
Okay. See, I've already said that. I have a plain advice to every young professional, that whatever you want to do,
Mhm,
don't be very adamant to a certain profession or certain skill or whatever.
mhm,
Just just think that you are the master of every field. If whenever, whatever chance, whatever field you have that opportunity to get in,
mhm.
go in and just blow it. Like, in
Absolutely.
a way, see, make yourself capable enough.
Mhm,
Make yourself. One more thing, I would add that at least you have one skill.
mhm,
You must have one skill. You prepare for UPSC, you prepare for anything, but you should have one skill. You should be trained in one skill. That can be playing guitar,
mhm,
that can be playing flute,
mhm,
doing anything, that can be plumbering,
mhm.
or anything. But you should be, you
Expert.
should have one skill.
Mhm.
You should be master in one skill.
Absolutely.
So
So in
that is
India,
also very important.
I feel this thing is also lacking, that we, rather than focusing on prodigies, tend to focus on excellence in overall subjects. Uh, for I remember in my class 10th, uh, my teachers used to say, I was not good in maths. Okay, so my teachers used to say, okay, you need to study maths, and I was getting 100 out of 100 in social science, English, and everything. I was having an immense amount of success in other subjects. It was just mathematics which was worrying me. And my teachers, rather than appreciating me for my better marks in those subjects, used to force me, okay, you are not performing good in this. So I don't think that you are going to do well overall. So it was a bit demotivating for me also. And at the end of the day, what happened, like from 94%, 90% my overall marks, which I used to exclude maths from, I dropped to 80%, which was immense for me. And certainly I feel this thing also, that people should focus on their excellence in one subject or a matter or a skill rather than overall, which will help them in becoming master of one at least, rather than becoming jack of all. So, sir,
Good, good. Right.
it was very great talking to you. So, how
Mhm.
can the younger generation engage more actively in preserving the rich Indian culture? This is the last question. So if you can answer.
Yeah. For younger generation, there are two type of, I think, help I can demand from the younger generation. One is active and another is inactive.
Mhm,
Inactive demand is
mhm,
to, whenever you go to certain heritage place, stay inactive. Don't destroy anything. Don't do positive, but don't do negative as well. So that is one thing. And for the active people, I would say, whatever the heritage, anything. It's not just the heritage structure. It can be a tree also, which is more than 100 years old. It can be, there is even military heritage, and there are many aspects of heritage
mhm,
which are, which is more than 100, even the 50 years old. So
mhm,
whatever you find, just feel, you have to be little conscious
mhm,
that these things, if not documented today,
Hmm.
will never be known to your coming generations. So just document it.
Yes, sir.
Don't think of benefits or anything. Whatever what will you get by documenting it?
Yes, sir.
So there are some things which we need to do without thinking anything in return.
So thank you for taking out some time of a busy schedule for the podcast. It was great
Oh,
talking to you, and
same here, same here.
I feel the viewers would love to see this podcast also and would learn a lot from it. And as for viewers, we will meet again in a new episode with a new personality again. Till then, Jai Hind.
Sure, sure. Jai Hind, Jai Hind.